That's what I want to do. It's all up on the road.
We realized we jumped gone about 2 or 3 weeks. He ran to knock. But I never did opportunity to say happy birthday to Hannah. And as far as I know, she's the only relative that I have or have ever had that made it that far. Hannah, we all love you. We're proud of you.
Thank you so much. I love you back. I love you back.
While I've got the floor, I've still got 2 or 3 things that I want to do while we're here.
Keep talking.
I've got some hit well cards that I'm going to bring out or have somebody and pass around. We've got 2 cousins in the nursing home yet. The boy's wife, Goldie, and of course, Atlas. And we want to send them a card and let them know that we didn't forget them just because they are not here. I think this is best attended reunion we've ever had. Of course, we know why. And we're just proud of them. We've lost 2 since we was here last year. R.L. Summers, of course, Martha's husband, and J. N. Phillips, Effie Lou's husband. And chances are we'll lose some more before we come back. But let's try to keep up with these.
And the artist.
Well, Art was here.
That's right. She's my brother.
She done it since we were here last time.
Was it South Road?
That's a sign.
Eugene hadn't found my dad this year. Hadn't found my dad this year.
I was trying to think that was last year, then.
It was last year, but it was before
I
this.
mean, before our secretary.
Since the
I believe it's been since.
They think it was here last year.
She was, because the first time
I
I
don't
seen
write
her.
it down. I don't make it down. But
No.
anyway, I see the cars come by, we'll sign them, we'll give them a bell.
Was there my wife's
I tried.
We need to loudspeaker.
And we'll be back.
Anybody didn't get through reading, I know that they still going pretty well.
It is.
But I am too.
It is that.
I mean, some
Ellen lives in Jackson, and Gloria lives in Summerville. So they're both pretty nearby.
I was at the reunion just a week ago today.
I didn't realize that there was that many of the family that didn't know where they're buried and had never seen their grave. Well, I'll tell you where it is. Vince will tell you a lot more about it. But my grandparents on both sides lived within a mile of each other. Grandpa and Grandma Bivens are buried in what's known as the Human Cemetery. It was started and I guess intended to be for the Newman family, which was my mother's people. I don't know why, but at the time Grandma and Grandpa Bivens died, I guess it was the closest cemetery to their house. It was handy, it was cheap, lots was cheap, I know. They are buried in what's known as the Newman Cemetery, and that's up close to South Hillo, if you know where that is, or even more specific, at Hinkle, which is just a little outside of South Hillo.
Sorry.
This is our folks, the Human Cemetery is in place. I wish, if it was possible, everybody here at some time or other would take the time and go back and see where their grandpa and grandma are buried. Now,
While you're getting ready to say something else,
Darren said something about us going to a reunion last Sunday. We do the first Sunday in September. And it's called a Hannah reunion. And Grandma Little was a Hannah before she married. So we're kin to all those people too. And we do have a real good time the first Sunday in September up at Sardis.
Well, there's a Hannah listed on this sheet, and what I'm getting around to. For years and years and years, I can remember my mother and her brothers, who was Newman, at least once a year, took lunch and went back to the old home place, the old home cemetery, took their hoes and their rakes and shovels and what have you, cleaned off the graves and filled the ones that had sunk in, and now they're all gone. Some of the Grandma Bivens' people, along with some of the others, have got together up at South Hello and formed an organization to solicit donations if they get enough money, and they almost have already, but they can always use some more. And since our grandma and grandpa were buried there, I felt it's nothing but right if we send a little money to help with perpetual care for the cemetery. The Bank of South Hello is handling the funds. I've got a copy of an agreement here that they have signed that they'll take care of the funds. There's a committee been appointed to see after hiring somebody to see after it. In fact, I kind of think Herbert Ray maybe. Herbert, are you on that committee?
Yes, sir.
He might tell you more about it than I could, but anyway, if we get any money here today, we can rest assured that Grandpa and Grandma's grave will be kept up, and I'm going to pass this around, and if you want to give some toward that, I'll get it to the Bank of South Hello and put it in on our trust. The interest is what's supposed to pay the, as I understand it, pay the upkeep and never have to touch the principal. And that way, 100 years from now, the old Newman Cemetery will still be kept up. And if we don't do something like that, it'll be grown up in briars, weeds, and thickets that we'll lose track of where they're even buried. But I would like for everybody here, sometime or other, to go to South Hello. If you have to go there to ask somebody way out in Newman Cemetery, go by and see where Grandma and Grandpa did.
There's still discussion about minutes, but I'll go with them.
We know when you're going, they keep it up pretty well.
Densel has made a better suggestion. He said somebody minutes from here, go way over and show you where it is. So you haven't got any excuse. You can find Densel. They have 3 houses in Milledgeville, he's one of them. If you get the wrong one, the neighbor will know where it is. I don't know.
In fact, it was New Year's Eve, 1892, on a farm near Greenville, Texas, where a young couple with 2 small boys prepared for the long winter night. The farm animals had been fed and sheltered. Firewood had been piled high on the back porch, and supper was on the table. After the meal, Charlie Lipford retired to the sitting room and proceeded to fill his pipe with homegrown tobacco crumbs. The minute the cleanup kitchen chores were completed, his wife Nora made her way to the fireside rocker. Snuff box in hand and a black gum toothbrush in her apron pocket, she stopped only to pull her chair closer to the fireplace. After reading a few verses from the Bible, she prepared the two boys, Oliver and Aussie, for bed, tucking them in for the night. As the fire in the fireplace began to dwindle, Dora turned to Charlie with a gleam in her eye and said, "Charlie, let's put another log on the fire and stay up and see the new year in." With only a moment's hesitation, Charlie replied, "I've got a better idea. Let's put another log on the fire and go to bed and see the new year in." A quick compromise, and that was that. Well, exactly 9 months to the day from that New Year's Eve, a baby girl was born to Charlie and Dora Lippert. They called her name Anna. The end of the subject.
Now, we can consider that is an actual fact. I got it straight from the horse's mouth. So, we call it, "This is your life." And I watched it. Oh, I was really upset. All I could do was get a few of the once in a lifetime occasions. It would have took all evening to try to keep a portion of Anna's 100 years. So we just got a few high points that happen only once in a lifetime, if you will. It'll be 100 or it'll say 300. So we'll let him read that, and then you'll know a little more about the life and the watching.
First, 1893, a baby girl was born to Charlie and Dora Lippert near a small town called Greenville, Texas. They named her Anna Elizabeth Lippert, and her grandmother, Hannah Elizabeth Hanna, for her grandmother, Hannah Elizabeth Hanna. Having been reared in Hardin County, Tennessee, Dora became dissatisfied in Texas and persuaded her husband Charlie to return to Tennessee in 1897, where they could be near her parents and family and friends. Anna began her formal education in a small one-room red schoolhouse at Oak Grove near Sardis, Tennessee, then later attended Gravel Ridge School in Hardin County. In 1910, her father, still searching for a more fertile ground in which to provide a better living for his family that Hardin County could provide, moved to Dyer County, Tennessee, where Anna enrolled in Bonnie Cord School. It was about that time that Anna, searching for a church affiliation, became interested and active in the Bonnie Cord Church of Christ, where she and 3 of her girlfriends, Lenny, Lizzie, and Lexi Miller, obeyed the gospel in baptism. At that time, her parents were members of the Presbyterian Church, but later they, and all of her brothers and sisters, joined with her in the Church of Christ, where she has remained active and loyal to this day. In 1916, she graduated from high school at Fox, Tennessee, where she was selected salutatorian of her class and gave the salutatory address at graduation. She enrolled in business college and attended for 2 months. But World War I came along, and Uncle Sam had called her 2 older brothers, Ozzie and Oliver, into service to help defend their country. Anna dropped out of school and returned home to help the family with their farming interests. It was there she met, courted, and married Clifford E. Watson on November 7, 1920. They later moved to Memphis, where Clifford became employed by Memphis Light, Gas and Water, where he worked until retirement. After almost 54 years of wedded bliss, Clifford passed away on November 3rd, 1974. To Clifford and Anna Watson were born two daughters. Ruth, born September 23rd, 1920, and Ramona, born August 4th, 1929. Ruth died February 1st, 1966, leaving Anna 6 grandchildren. Ramona has 2 children, making a total of 8 grandchildren. Anna now has 12 great-grandchildren and is so very proud of each and every one. And said that, I'm so blessed that God has left me Ramona in case I need someone to take care of me when I get old. It would be utterly impossible to detail even just the highlights of a 100-year-old lifespan on these few lines. But Anna Watson, for those of us who know and love you so very much, we owe a debt of gratitude for the joy and influence you brought to our lives up to this point, and looking forward to seeing what the next 100 years will bring. May God bless and keep you always in our hearts. Love always, cousins of the Sam and Hannah Bivens clan.
That's cousin Kate. She had such cake. And would somebody bring us a nice one and
I know Bivens was going to read. Since you read that, though, somebody knows so much, but I didn't know.
No, I got to run. Ask him to move down so I can get her. Gene? Hey, Gene, leave me a streak over to her. That's good. That's good.
I can read fast and I can read loud. Y'all listen fast and listen loud. This is from my dad.
I hate to follow that, but I didn't learn as much about Anna as somebody might about her.
Here's one my daddy wrote, and in honor to him, I shall read it. Here I sat with pen in hand, wondering where and how to begin. It should not be any task at all, for in my book she stands so tall. Just a few simple adjectives will describe her very well. She is so simple and common, she is uncommon. Oh no, I did not mean she is not worthy of some of this big adjectives, just didn't know how to use them. Marvelous, trustworthy, rambunctious. How's that for a big one? If she doesn't like that one will take it back. Say, can you remember some of the changes in her lifespan? I would just like to mention two, the sack and the hoe. I bet she remembers them both. The sack in her day, I would guess, cost about $1.25. Today that sack goes through the field, picking 4 to 6 rows and through, 8 to 12 at a round, costing approximately $100,000. The hoe in her day cost about the same as the sack, $1.25 today. That hoe comes in a barrel or a can and is a multi-million-dollar industry. Now they call that progress, and I'm sure it is. But just wait a moment to let me think about what we will do when we run out of red ink. Now, when I take a moment to see just what I have said about this wonderful gal, I see I haven't mentioned her radiant smile. When she turns that personality on, it is just like she was sitting on top of the throne. And I like to say, for these few years that I've been coming to the reunion, I remember your radiant smile, your outgoing personality, your love for the Lord, and your snake pit.
I just don't know words to thank you all for all this sweet, wonderful thing I feel like I'm not worthy, but I certainly appreciate it all so much.
Has anybody else got any comment, anything you want to say to Anna about or with it? Right now would be a good time, and I know that some of you would like to say something.
She came to see me when
Oh,
Ramona and Ruth were little girls, and of course, I remember that very well. Which men have to learn to
anybody else got anything you want to say?
Well, I can only say it's my second home every time I have to go towards Memphis, and when I stop there and nobody could be any more friendly or try to do any more for you, give you meals and all that, and I enjoy it.
I think we're all in agreement on any compliment.
I got something to say. Clara, would you move over just a little? The other way, the other way.
We're going.
Thank you, thank you.
Anna, get the knife and cut the cake. And get a piece of it while they make the picture. And then we're going to cut it in half. One more time.
Eugene had something and Sarah had something they agreed to. That everybody got to chuckle at
I'm holding my breath. Don't hurry. You gonna get in the picture, Annie? Wait a minute, wait a minute, Bobby. We got one more.
I promise you this will be the last hour today. Settle down here a few minutes. Say poetry all evening, or she'll say this and when she gets tired, she's going to quit. Let's get back where we relax and listen and have poetry and
All right, everybody, we're fixing to have Adam's poem, so come on in, get you a club, chair, and a seat. And we be real quiet, have quality entertainment.
Anna can't talk much louder than I can, so get your seat where you
I wake up in the morning to face another day. I wake up in the morning to face another day and wonder what's in store for me along life's traveled way. Before I start to do my work with all the toil and care, I stop and lift my eyes to God and offer up a prayer. I thank Him for the life I have, the strength to do my work. I ask Him to assist me with the things I should not shirk. I also pray for others, the sick, the lame, the blind, for those who work with people a better life to find. This little talk I have with God just starts my day off right. The things I do seem easier from morning until night. So first thing in the morning, do this without delay. Ask God for strength and guidance. You'll have a better day. If I had known what trouble you were bearing, what grief were in the silence of your face, I would have been more gentle and more caring, and tried to brought you gladness for a space. I would have brought more warmth into the place if I had known. If I had known what despairing thoughts that drew you, why do we never try to understand? I would have lent a little friendship to you and slipped my hand into your hand and made your stay more pleasant in the land if I had known. Today upon the bus, Today upon the bus I saw a lovely girl with golden hair. I envied her, she seemed so gay, and when she rose to leave, I saw her hobble down the aisle. She had one leg and used a crutch, but as she passed, she smiled. Oh God, forgive me when I whine. I have two legs, the world is mine. I stopped to buy some candy. The lad who sold it had such charm. I talked with him. He seemed so glad, and as I left, he said to me, I thank you. You've been so kind. It's nice to talk with folks like you. You see, he said, I'm blind. Oh God, forgive me when I whine. I have two eyes. The world is mine. Later, while walking down the street, I saw a child with eyes so blue. He stood and watched the others play. I stopped a moment and I said, why don't you join the others, dear? He looked ahead without a word, and then I knew he could not hear. Oh God, forgive me when I whine. I have two ears, the world is mine, with feet to take me where I want to go, and eyes to see the sunset's glow, and ears to hear what I would know. Oh God, forgive me when I whine. I'm blessed indeed, the world is mine. A smile costs nothing, but creates much. It happens in a flash, but the memory sometimes lasts forever. It's something that cannot be bought, made, borrowed, or stolen, but is of no earthly good unless it's given away. So, if in your hurry and rush, you meet someone that is too weary to smile, give them one of yours, for no one needs a smile quite as much as they who have none left to give. I'll have to say a funny one or two. Just a line that she's writing to her sister, and she said, just a line to say I'm living, that I'm not among the dead, though I'm getting more forgetful and more mixed up in the head. For at times I can't remember when I'm standing at the foot of the stairs if I must go up for something or if I've just come down from there. And before the fridge, so often my poor mind is filled with doubt. I can't remember if I've come to put food away or come to take some out. and at night when it's dark out, with my nightcap on my head, I don't know if I'm retiring or just getting out of bed. So if it's my turn to write you, there's no need to get sore. I may think that I have written and don't want to be a bore. But remember that I love you and I wish that you were here. But now it's nearly mail time, so I must say goodbye, dear. Now I stand beside the mailbox with a face so very red. In place of mailing you my letter, I have opened it instead. Mirror, mirror on the wall. My dilemma is my dilemma. Mirror, mirror on the wall, you're no good to me at all. When I look into your face and see the reflection of my face, is that person that I see, is that person really me? Sure, I know it's been a while since I was called a juvenile, but I really feel the same, except I'm stiff and a little lame. My hair's turned gray, getting thin, lots of wrinkles and a double chin, but I'm really feeling fine. I work at something all the time. Still, I wonder when I see that reflection that is me, which one of us is really real? The one I see or the one I feel? Once upon a time there was a, no, I wanted to say that about, there was a man. Now please take note, there was a man who had a goat. He loved that goat, indeed he did. He loved that goat just like a kid. One day that goat felt frisk and fine and ate 3 red shirts from off the line. The man, he grabbed him by the back and tied him to the railroad track. But when that train hove into sight, that goat grew pale and green with fright. He heaved a sigh as though in pain, coughed up those shirts and flagged the train. This is if I had known what trouble you were bearing, what grief were in the silence of your face, I would have been more gentle and more caring and tried to brought you gladness for a space. I would have brought more warmth into the place if I had known. If I had known what grief you was having, why don't we try to understand? I would have lent a little friendship to you and slipped my hand into your hand and made your stay more pleasant in the land if I had known. And this is my mother's definition of a rich person. Said, my mother always said to me, I'm as rich as I want to be. If I could live in a house that does not leak and always have enough food to eat, and if I could have shelter to weather a storm and have enough clothing to keep me warm, and if I could always keep my health enough to be able to wait on myself, to wash it, iron, and cook it, sew, and have strength to walk where I want to go, I will be rich, but not with wealth. But a person is rich if he has his health. Rich people may live in houses so fine, but they can only live in one house at a time. The rich can sleep in only one bed, and their stomachs can hold only so much bread. The rich cannot buy joy with their silver and gold, for the years will pass by, and they too will grow old. The rich cannot buy joy when they feel depressed, nor can they there are so many things that money can't buy, such as life when it's time for us to die. So if I'm healthy and happy, you see, I'm as rich as I want to be.
You haven't said mine yet.
This is right to the old folks. So don't go to the theater, concert, or ball, but stay in your room tonight. Deny yourself to the friends that call and a good long letter write. Write to the sad old folks at home who sit when the day is done with folded hands and downcast eyes, just thinking of the absent one. Don't selfishly scribble, excuse my haste, I've scarcely the time to write. Lest their drooping thoughts go wandering back to many a bygone night when they lost their needed sleep and rest, and every breath was a prayer that God would leave their delicate babe to their tender love and care. Don't think your young and giddy friends who make your pastimes gay have half the anxious thoughts of you the old folks have today. The duty of writing do not put off. Let sleep or pleasure wait, lest the letter for which they have wished it long might be a day or an hour too late. And it's best to let them believe, never forget them quite, but you deem it a pleasure when far away, long letters home to write. I have no time to find fault with others. I have too many faults of my own. While I myself may not know them, I'm sure to others they are known. I have no time for idle gossip. You see, it may all be a lie, and the story will soon be forgotten if everyone passes it by. I've no time I've no time, but it takes, I've no time to do something, I can't figure it out. But it takes all my time, though, deciding and helping and what I can do for others. And I like to got mixed up all that. Let me grow lovely, growing old, so many fine things do. Laces and ivory and gold and silk need not be new, and there's healing in old trees, old streaks of glamour holds. Why may not I, as well as these, grow lovely, growing old? And I usually quit with a prayer. Let's see.
Well, you're not ready for that. You didn't say mine yet.
Well, which one you got?
The little baby snake.
Oh, baby snake.
Couldn't keep her back, and what she be good by the time she gets old.
But I don't know if I had it down or not.
That hissing
Well,
snake.
let's see. Anyhow,
Mama snake and a papa snake.
he's promised. He did. That was a man. Let's see.
Having a mama
Snake. I don't have it down.
Mama snake and a papa snake and a little bitty snake.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Once upon a time, there was a papa snake and a mama snake and a little boy snake. And they lived in a snake pit. But the little boy snake, he wasn't happy. He didn't know how to hiss. And his mom and daddy went around hissing all the time. And his mama said, well, if you try and practice, you learn how to hiss. And he tried and tried, so sure enough, one day he could hiss. He knew how to hiss. And then he was so proud, he felt so proud of himself that he just went around hissing all the time. Until his mama just got tired of him hissing all the time. And she said, why don't you go down to Miss Potts' pit and hiss down there? And he went down to Miss Potts' pit and he hissed and hissed until Miss Potts got tired of him. And she said, now you better go on back home now, on back to your own pit. And he went back home, and his mama said, why'd you come home for? And he told her what Miss Potts said. And she said, oh, that old Miss Potts, she thinks she's so smart. And I knew her when she didn't have a pit to hiss in. Maybe I should say a little prayer now, and I guess you're all getting tired. Let's see. No. Yeah, it's take me and break me and make me, dear God, just what you want me to be. Give me the strength to accept what you said, and eyes with the vision to see all the small, arrogant ways that I have, the vain little things that I do. Make me aware that I'm often concerned more with myself than with you. Uncover before me my weakness and grief, and help me to search deep inside, so I may discover how easy it is to be selfishly lost in my pride. And then in thy goodness and mercy, dear God, look down on this weak erring one and tell me that I've been forgiven for all I have so willfully done. And teach me to humbly start following the path the dear Savior trod, so I may find at the end of life's journey a home in the city of God. Wait for me so patient. That's enough. I pray. Yeah, I'm afraid I'll get y'all for that.
I guess that's why. Everybody else wants to